Welcome everybody to Rank Talks Ball once again for another World Cup watch along. This time I'm back here at where I usually did my watch alongs before, a much more calm and relaxed setting because this is the first World Cup watch along, at least for this World Cup, where the Argentina national team is not playing, and that means that I get to relax a bit more and not really worry too much about what happens in the game. I can just watch this as a neutral and enjoy the game with you guys, which is what I wanted to do the most. Obviously, I didn't do any watch-alongs for the group stage besides the Argentina games. I wanted to do watch-alongs yesterday to Brazil against Japan and to Paraguay against Germany. Those two would have been banger watch-alongs, but sadly I was busy. I had to do a live stream. Like I was co-streaming the game for another platform, the Brazil Japan one. Like I was commentating the game for another platform, and then I had to go to a streaming about basically like a news outlet for the World Cup. And it started like while the Paraguay game was going on, like as the second half started, basically we had to kick off. So I was not able to be here and do watch-alongs for those games, which would have been banger games if I was able to be here. So instead, we're going to focus on the next Conmebol representative that we have here, which is Ecuador, going up against none other than Mexico, one of the hosts. Playing at the Azteca, the game was delayed because there was heavy rain in Mexico City that kind of obviously delayed the game for a little bit, so that's why we're starting a bit later than I originally intended. But yeah, it's gonna be a banger game. Mexico, a team that have qualified to the knockout stage once again after failing to get out of the group in 2022. Before that, they were on a streak of always making it to the round of 16 and never making it past that. So in this occasion, they will be looking to make it into the round of 16, but basically they're looking to win a knockout game for the first time since 1986, which is when they also hosted the tournament the last time. And yeah, that time they also reached the quarterfinals. The ever so famous Quinto Partido, the fifth match, which in this case, because there is an expanded format, the fifth match would actually be the round of 16. If Mexico were to win this first round, they would qualify for that fifth match, that Quinto Partido, and it would be their first knockout win in 40 years. As for Ecuador, they've never won a knockout game. The only time that they've escaped the group stage at the World Cup was 2006, and that time around they lost in the round of 16 against England due to a David Beckham free kick. So if Ecuador do win this, they can qualify into the round of 16 where they can potentially meet England again, assuming that England also beat DR Congo. So they can set up like a revenge story there. But also we could have Mexico against England at the Azteca next round, if that were to play out like that, which would also be super, super interesting. Especially since Mexico has never actually lost a World Cup game at the Azteca. They've only lost once at the World Cup playing at home, and that was to Italy in the 1970 World Cup, and that game was played in Toluca in 1986. They played at the Azteca against Germany, but they were eliminated on penalties. They did not actually lose the game. So Mexico has never lost a World Cup game at the Azteca. Ecuador will be the ones looking to change that. Let me say hello to all of the people in the chat. Adam, who was here before we started. Brandon, thank you so much for joining. Mr. Krabs, Brian Alexander as well. 9:30 here where you're at in the East Coast. Yeah, I can imagine you're gonna be a bit jet lagged about that, but happy that you are joining here. Yeah, it's an hour later here, so it's 10:30, 37 now p.m. here in Argentina. So yeah, we're staying up until late for this one. This thing keeps translating rank to color, which is pretty funny. Brian Alexander, yes, France are looking quite scary. I was watching the game against Sweden, and Sweden didn't really pose much of a threat. They created a few chances, they were wasteful with them, but for the most part, it seemed like France, even playing on first or second gear, they were just running over them, and there was nothing that Sweden could do. They were so dominant in that game. And yeah, France once again solidifying themselves as one of the candidates to win the World Cup for sure. I think that obviously they are on the different bracket compared to Argentina, so we can only meet them in the final, which would be the second time in a row that that final happens. And yeah, if it were to happen, it would be absolute cinema. But obviously, there's still a long way to go before that. Argentina has to play against Cabo Verde on July 3rd, which we will obviously make a watch along for, and we have to win that game to make it into round 16 first. France already in the round 16, and they have to go up against none other than Paraguay, who come off defeating Germany. So you can never assume what's going to happen in that match, although France are the heavy favorites, of course. Ecuador could face Congo, both have a solid defense, but not good at the front. Yeah, that's true. I think that, I mean, this game is between two very good defensive sides, although Ecuador hasn't looked the best defensively at this World Cup so far. Like the first game against Ivory Coast, Incapié especially has been super poor this entire World Cup. He was getting cooked by Diomande. Even Curacao created a few chances against them, and against Germany, they showed a better performance, but also the Germans were kind of wasteful in their opportunities. And well, we basically saw a better game from Ecuador overall, and they actually tried harder to win that game than what they showed against Curacao, and that's why they were able to get the result. So now Ecuador coming into this with new momentum after having a horrendous start in the first two games, while Mexico coming here with 9 out of 9 points in the group and having not conceded a single goal. They are, alongside Spain, the only two teams that have yet to concede a goal at this World Cup. Yeah, like you're saying, Mr. Krause, like this is the matchup between La Tri and El Tri. La Tri being Ecuador and El Tri being Mexico. Tri because they have three colors in their flag, so they are the three color, the tricolor. In the case of Ecuador, they are known as La Tricolor, while in Mexico they are known as El Tricolor. So like there's just a difference, like in well, it's kind of difficult because here in Spanish we have like la and el, like you're separating the with gender. Like there's distinction of gender in Spanish, which is kind of weird when after you learn English, like that works like that. Yeah, 1 hour behind Argentina in Atlanta, Georgia. If we have that Argentina France final again, I mean, sign me up, honestly. Like, as long as Argentina are in the final, like, sign me up. I don't care who we go up against, but yeah. Paraguay beating Germany on penalties. That was absolute cinema. Like I told you, during the end of the game, I was away from home. I was about to. Well, we were live. We were actually live during extra time, and I had to say that Jonathan Tah has scored in extra time, and then that there was a VAR check and that the goal had been disallowed, which I think that it was rightfully disallowed. At least they are consistent with what FIFA has been ruling out during these tournaments. And then I was off air when the penalty shootout happened, but I was behind the scenes and we all watched the penalty shootout, and it was absolute cinema how Uruguay got the early lead. They almost bottled the penalty shootout and then they end up winning it. Absolute cinema, and absolutely deserved as well for Paraguay. They played better in my opinion. Like, Germany had more opportunities, Germany had more of the ball, but Paraguay were better whenever they had the ball. Like, Paraguay executed their game plan to a T and really frustrated Germany. And so I think that Paraguay really, really deserved that win. San Lorenzo, Orlando Hill, yeah. San Lorenzo stocks going up, and they need it because of their financial woes. So much, much appreciated that Orlando Hill came out with the heroics in that game, both during the 120 minutes and obviously the penalty shootout itself. All right, we are, excuse me, very close to the start of the game, and the team's actually walking out onto the pitch. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go over the starting 11s, which don't really show a lot of surprise when it comes to anything related to these teams, but we're still gonna check them out over here. Let me get my camera back on. I hate that OES always does this. So over here on the side of Mexico, we have Rangel in goal, of course. He's been the starting goalkeeper for Mexico this campaign. ahead of obviously Memo Ochoa, and has actually been pretty clutch. And like we were saying, Mexico is yet to concede a goal, so only clean sheets so far for Rangel and also for his defense. Vasquez and Montes. Montes wearing the captain's armband this time around because there's no Edson Alvarez this time around, but both Montes and Vasquez have been incredibly solid. And so yeah, I just think that Mexico has one of the best defenses in the tournament, and these two center backs are a big part in that. Sanchez as the right back, Jesus Gallardo as the left back. Um, Again, Sanchez also had an amazing game against the Czech Republic. That was the one where I mainly was looking at. Um, and then Gallardo is just a super solid player as well. The midfield with Lira instead of obviously Edson Alvarez, like we were talking about, starting at that CDM. Romo here on that left side, and Gilberto Mora starting on that right side, the wonder kid for Mexico. Very important over there. And then the front three that we know, Julian Quiñones, who's been one of the most electric players at this World Cup, obviously scored the first goal of this World Cup. Raul Jimenez, the one who scored the second goal of this World Cup in that game against South Africa, and the main striker obviously for Mexico. He's also in the thumbnail. And Alvarado, who I think is one of the most surprising players, because I hadn't known much about Alvarado. I hadn't heard much of him before. And he actually proved to be very effective in Mexico's attacking qualities, especially considering that Quiñones was the one making so much noise on the left. Well, Alvarado has been linking up really well on the right, especially with somebody like Mora. So those are two guys that can definitely create something for Mexico over there. Moving to the side of Ecuador, we have Hernan Galindez in goal. It's actually the same lineup that went up against Germany, because we have Alan Franco, Ordóñez, William Pacho, and Piero Hincapié playing as that left back. I really hope that Hincapié has a good game, because so far Hincapié has been pretty bad, and now he's going up against Alvarado and Mora, and he could get smoked, like if he doesn't improve his form. Also, Alan Franco here on the right position. He could play there, or it could be a back three and Alan Franco moving into the midfield with John Jeboa pushing a bit forward and it being like a 3-4-3, or it could stay like this in a 4-4-2, or it could shift into something different. What we know is that the double pivot is going to be Moises Caicedo, who is now the captain ahead of Ener Valencia, and also Pedro Vite here in that midfield. Very solid. Vite, somebody that likes to push forward a bit more. Caicedo, we know how quality he is, so he's going to be very important for Mexico as that destroyer of play against Mexico. Excuse me, it's going to be important for Ecuador. I hope it is not important for Mexico. The front three, well, you're going to have first on the right, you're going to have John Jeboa, and on the left, Angulo, who also scored that equalizer against Germany, which was super important to get some momentum back to Ecuador and actually be able to get into that game. Gonzalo Plata, the guy who scored the winner against Germany, probably the most celebrated goal in Ecuadorian history, the most important goal in Ecuadorian history, now looking to make even more history here against Mexico at the Azteca. And the forever starting Ener Valencia. Listen, I know he's Ecuador's top goal scorer at World Cups, but he's been really poor this World Cup. Like I think Becasese should have gone with something different, like a Kevin Rodriguez, for example, just to try something different, because Kevin Rodriguez at least showed that he could hold a play a bit better. And even though neither of them has scored a goal yet, I feel like Ener has just been out of it for so long, man. Like he was wasting so many chances. He was providing absolutely nothing to this team. Out of possession as well, no link-up play, no nothing. So I would have just started anybody else, like Kevin Rodriguez. Just start the guy, and then you can bring in Ener Valencia if you need a goal late on. But Becasese is obviously going with this, which is the same lineup that started against Germany, and just trusting that it works once again. So yeah, I mean, very solid lineups. Basically what we expected out of these two teams. So nothing too surprising there. Where's my camera? Here it is. So yeah, we'll have to see how they actually set up and what can come up out of this game. Atlanta United signing Orlando Hill. They've signed lots of Paraguayans. Well, don't discard Inter Miami just yet. Has he gained followers on Instagram? That's crazy. I don't think Mexico have looked bad, but I don't think they were impressive, and their opposition wasn't really that great. Like South Africa, South Korea, and Czech Republic were all from mid to outright terrible. Especially the Czech Republic were like the worst. South Korea was probably the best team in that group, although South Africa ended up advancing over South Korea. But yeah, Mexico did well to keep clean sheets in all of those games, to be fair, and they were better than every opponent that they faced. But it wasn't like super convincing by Mexico, and this is like by far the best team that they faced this World Cup. And yeah, we have to see how they fare up against that. Also, crazy stat that I saw: Mexico has played 14 games against Conmebol sides at World Cups. They have 10 losses, 3 draws, and 1 win. And that only win was against Ecuador in the 2002 World Cup. So Mexico's only win against a Conmebol side at a World Cup has been against Ecuador, but otherwise they have a horrible track record against Conmebol in general, but especially in World Cups. So um, either either or, depending on what you decide to believe. If you decide to believe that Mexico are frauds against CONMEBOL, you may side with Ecuador, but if you decide that in the only encounter Mexico actually beat Ecuador, you might side with Mexico. So there are a lot of things riding on this game. Like I mentioned before, Mexico not winning a knockout game since 86, Ecuador not winning a knockout game ever, so this would be their first. Mexico trying to get to that Quinto Partido, and Ecuador looking to find revenge against England if that round of 16 match were to happen. So, lot on the line for this game as the players are about to walk out onto the pitch. Hello, Muka. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Is it a shock if Ecuador beats Mexico? Yes and no. Like I've been talking about this. This is a close game. These are two pretty evenly matched teams in my eyes. Um, it would be surprising in the sense that one, Ecuador have never won a knockout game. Two, Mexico has never lost a game, a World Cup game at the Azteca. So it would be a first for both of those occasions. But if you look at both of the teams, you can even make the argument that Ecuador has better individuals than Mexico. Although I would say that Mexico has looked as a better cohesive unit than Ecuador so far this World Cup. And so you can maybe give the upper hand to Mexico on that, and also being the home team. But this is a pretty close game. I think that the most normal outcome, and my prediction, is Mexico 1-0. But um, it wouldn't be surprised if Ecuador were to win. I don't think so. It would be an amazing story, though. But yeah, I wouldn't call it a surprise. Ener Valencia is starting because he's Ener Valencia and nothing else, and BKSS trusts him. Yeah. I meant only World Cups. Yeah, no, Mexico has done more decent at Copa Americas, although not by much. They've never won the Copa America, but they've reached a few finals. So Mexico has not been terrible at the Copa America, and yeah, they can certainly hold their own against Conmebol sides. But at the World Cup, it was like, their kryptonite. 14 games, 10 losses is crazy. They have 4 losses to Argentina. I believe they have 4 losses to Brazil and a draw, which was that 0-0 in the group stage of the 2014. 5% Mexicans. So we'll have to see how both teams deal with the pressure, because this is also pressure for Mexico as well. Playing at home, this is like their biggest chance of actually making a deep run, and it starts with a victory here. Hello, Blue and Neutral Media. Yeah, exactly. Just like Ener Valencia, Ecuador has Ener Valencia, well, Ghana has Jordan Ayew. It's the same thing, literally the same thing. What is this fraud Infantino doing, bro? I cannot stand every time they show Infantino on the TV broadcast. It's crazy to me. Okay, finally they're getting to the national anthems. I was wondering when they were doing that. All right. Um, Let's make a poll real quick before the game starts. Who do you have winning this game? So will it be Mexico? That doesn't type the O. Or will it be Ecuador? You can also tell me there in the chat um, if you think it's going to go to extra time. I think extra time is very likely. I think penalties are very likely because these are two very evenly matched teams. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that were to be the case whatsoever. Did the poll even show? Yeah, okay, the poll. The translation. Estamos en vivo, Willow. Thank you so much for joining. Mexico playing way, Mexico way, no mames. Up against Ecuador. Ooh, somebody already splitting the vote between Mexico and Ecuador. Like I said, I think this is a pretty evenly. This is a close match. They're very evenly matched, in my opinion. And the translator keeps trolling, man. All right. I have a feeling like it's gonna be insane if there is more than one goal in this game. Like I I just look at how both of these teams have been defensive masterclasses, at least in their qualifiers. And I'm like, dude, it's gonna be so surprising if there's like more than one goal in this game. I feel like it could be 1-0 to either side, but if it's like I don't see this being like a 2-1, 3-2 or something like that. I feel like it's gonna be just very, very tight, very cagey, very physical. And if we are gonna see a goal, it's gonna be like something very scrappy, something out of the hat, and just, whoever scores is gonna win. It feels like to me. But you never know. Obviously, you never know. Ooh, the chat still 50-50 on this goal between Mexico and Ecuador. And I cannot blame you, Chad. I think it's a very close game. And like we were talking about before, the winner of this game continues to play in the Azteca and will face the winner of England against Democratic Republic of Congo, which I also think is a sleeper close game. I think that with how England have been playing and with how much they've been struggling to break down low blocks, the fact that DR Congo are one of the best defensive sides in Africa does not do them any favor. I feel like England is going to have a tough time breaking down a team like DR Congo. If Conmebol wants to do the Copa America outside of South America again, why not Mexico? Don't do it in the USA again. But the USA gives the most revenue. They give out the most money. That's the only reason that Conmebol is doing that, which is still so stupid. Like I understood doing it once, twice even, three times, and two in a row. Like it's not even your own competition anymore. You're not playing it in your own confederation. So like, what is the point of hosting another Copa America in the US? It makes absolutely no sense. Elijah, thank you so much for joining. It keeps translating my name into color, but thank you so much for joining. We're all here to find out who's gonna be DR Congo's rival in the next round, in the round of 16. So yeah, I don't know, Elijah. Do you prefer Mexico or Ecuador in the next game? Straight up. Yeah, obviously, Willow, it's for money. Like the Copa America is in the US because of money. Yeah, the European leagues with Saudi with their Super Cups as well. But like at that point, just merge Conmebol and Concacaf together. Like it doesn't make sense to have the Copa America outside of Conmebol 2 times in a row. It's not even your own tournament anymore. Um, Anshu, thank you so much for joining. Separate question: what starting 11 do you think Scaloni will start against Cape Verde? How do you would they tackle Cape Verde's defensive run? What do you think? I think that the lineup is going to be very similar to what we saw in the first 2 games against Algeria and Austria. I think that what is likely is that Tagliafico, if he's 100% fit, he's going to start ahead of Facundo Medina in that left back position. And also, there's the doubt between Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez. I feel like Lautaro, for what he's done at the World Cup so far, not even the goal, because the goal against Jordan, first it was Jordan, second it was a penalty, but like in general, I feel like Lautaro has been playing better than Julian so far at the World Cup, and you can see that Julian Alvarez is still not 100%. But obviously, if either striker were to play, I feel like it wouldn't change much about how Argentina actually approached that game. Obviously, Cabo Verde have been an amazing defensive side. They like to play that mid block, very, very tight team that don't allow any spaces in between the lines. So Argentina is going to have to play very quick. So we're going to have to do 1 or 2 touches with each player, trying to advance very fast, try to find combination plays, just try to focus on one area of the pitch and play on downside. There's also the possibility of trying to win in the air, but Argentina is not really a team that likes to put in crosses into the box or win in the air. But that is how Uruguay found the 2 goals, basically beating Cabo Verde in the air. So that's another possibility for Argentina, maybe. But I think that most likely Argentina are going to want to keep the ball on the ground, and we're just going to have to play quicker to break down their low block and find pockets of space somewhere and take our chances. That is going to be the main thing. We have to take our chances because Cabo Verde are also going to have opportunities. They're going to come at us in the counter attack, so it's not going to be an easy game whatsoever, but we need to take our chances when we have them. Okay, so DR Congo prefers Ecuador on this one. Mexican football, yeah, the home field advantage. We were talking about this. They've never lost a World Cup game at the Azteca. It will be the first time, and it will also be the first time that Ecuador win a knockout game. It will be the first time that Mexico win a knockout game since 1986. As we are underway already at the Estadio Azteca, is Mexico against Ecuador. Is CONCACAF's pride and hope here playing in front of their home crowd up against Conmebol's so-called dark horses. And yeah, Mexico looking to break a very negative streak against Conmebol teams. Lots of narratives going into this one. Ecuador's coach looks like discount Diego Forlán. Becasese, he's one of the Beach Boys. We were talking about this with Michael. Like he's one of the Beach Boys. He's straight out of Baywatch. Like he was on Baywatch, like on the cast. He was there. Don't fact check me on that, but I know he was. No, obviously that Congo have done amazingly already. Scoring your first World Cup goal against Portugal of all teams and getting a point out of Portugal, getting your first win against Uzbekistan, making it out of the group. But I'm just saying, Elijah, you match up really well into England. Like, I know England are the favorites. England should win that game. You match up really well into them. Like, they hate going up against low blocks, and you have one of the best low blocks in the tournament. So, if there is a team that can make that sort of upset happen, it would be DR Congo, I feel like. Arriba México or arriba España, if that happens. Yeah, Becasese is Argentine. Who are the Argentine coach? Because I know that the only Argentine coach that has been eliminated is Bielsa. And then you also have Becasese, Scaloni, obviously. You have Nestor Lorenzo in Colombia. You have Gustavo Alfaro in Paraguay. And there is one more out there. Oh, Pochettino in the US, obviously. So those are the 6 Argentine World Cup coaches. And 5 of them are still in the competition, although we have to see if Becasese survives tonight. I had to say, Canada are already through. The US has to play tomorrow. It would be a very bad look on Mexico if they are the first home nation to be eliminated. Alexandra, hey, it's been so long. So happy to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. People, like, if you don't know Alexandra, Alexandra was here during every single live stream of last year's Copa America, and she was basically always contributing, trying to help people like the streams, subscribe to the channel, which you guys should obviously do, and that's what earned him to be my one and only mod so far in this channel's history. So glad to see you back. It's been a while. Like, we went through 3 group stage games for Argentina without seeing you, so you had to show up for the neutral game here in the round 32 between Mexico and Ecuador. Yeah, well, getting a job dusted to you. So yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, me being employed as well, sort of. Being employed has also kept me away from doing more watch-alongs for the World Cup. I would have liked to make many, many more streams than I have been doing, but I'll try to do, especially for the Conmebol teams. I don't know if you guys are interested, but I was also eyeing the Portugal-Croatia game as a potential watch-along. I don't know if that would interest you guys, but I was mainly trying to focus on the Conmebol teams. Yeah, this whole channel has been a one-man crew for like the entirety of its existence. So, yeah, not much to say about there. So basically, I've been working for. Oh, hold on, Mexico with a chance already. Ooh, cleared away by William Pacho on the small box. Already Mexico putting some pressure on Ecuador. Although here's Ener Valencia with a run, that's a foul. Yep. So basically, I've been working for a media outlet that's been doing like has been streaming some of the World Cup games. Obviously, we don't have the image rights, but we've been basically doing streams, just narrating the games on YouTube. And I've been working there for basically doing games for the Argentine League or for like the second division as well, for the Copa Sudamericana or the Copa Libertadores. And now that there's the World Cup, obviously, well, the Argentine League is not going on, so we're just doing for the World Cup. And yeah, I've been doing streams over there. Over at my college, I've been doing streams every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Basically doing like a talk show where I'm the host about the World Cup as well. So I've been very busy with that. Also, it's the end of my semester here in college, so I've also been working on that. So a lot of things going on at the same time. And because I study sports journalism, basically all of it is surrounding the World Cup. And now that the World Cup is going on, we're basically on double shift on everything. So yeah, that's basically what's been going on. Oh, I don't know. I responded Alexander because I felt like Elijah was asking me, but maybe he was asking you. But I have no idea. Maybe do a poll for the next watch along. Could be. In the Copa America 2024, Ecuador versus Argentina was the toughest game for Argentina. Post that Ecuador has been a little inconsistent, but happy for them to reach the round 32 in the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, that was a very tough game. Argentina looked to be in cruise control, and then suddenly Ecuador scored in the last minute, and they almost win the game after that. And then they forced the penalty shootout, and Messi missed the first one. Oh, that's a great chance. Oh, what a miss! Oh, what a miss for Raul Jimenez. Oh, okay, Mexico is looking a lot better. Luis Romo breaking away, going up against Moises Caicedo, puts in an amazing cross for Raul Jimenez, who appears on the far post, wins the duel over William Pacho. The ball goes over the PSG defender, and Raul Jimenez diving header goes just wide of the post. Mexico already looking better here. Can we talk about how upsetting these American commentators have been? Well, luckily here in Argentina, I don't have to deal with the Fox Sports crew or the CBS crew. I'm just, yeah. When Turkey went up, they made it all about the USA, not how much that goal and win meant for the Turkey fan supporters. Well, Turkey were already eliminated. I mean, I guess they finally got to celebrate a World Cup goal for the first time in 24 years. um, and get a World Cup win for the first time in 24 years as well. Um, but Turkey was already out. Like they had already disappointed in the first two games. So I can understand that, and especially if you're from the USA and you're an American commentator doing a USMNT game, you're gonna focus on the USMNT game because that's basically your audience. You're gonna focus on your audience on that side. So I understand that. Like when I watch Argentinian broadcast of Argentinian games, well, the focus is on the Argentinian national team because you're looking to please your audience, obviously. Yeah, I mean, obviously that they're gonna be biased towards themselves. Not even, I mean, be biased too. If they are good media outlets, they will also have critical thinking and they will use actual analysis and data to back their claims. But at least you have to make your own national team be the protagonist of the story. Like you celebrate because you are doing it for your own national team. You're doing it for your audience. When you're broadcasting to Americans a USMNT game, you want to have the story be around the USMNT. So like I don't really fault them for that. Anshu, I'm pretty sure that they know how the offside rule works. I would be shocked if somebody was allowed to commentate a football game not knowing the rules of the game, the basic rules of the game. If you have the clip of the European commentator correcting the American one on the offside rule, I would love to see it. I can imagine that being during the Iran Egypt game where there was like that offside at the last minute for Iran that was basically like half a toenail. And basically, there, because the goalkeeper had come off his line, he was not the second to last defender. So the offside had to be from somebody else. Um, I can imagine that bringing up confusion because um, people think that the offside rule, when you explain it for the first time, that you have to be behind the last defender, and it's actually the second to last defender. Yeah, it was that game because that's usually what brings confusion to people. The rule of offside is not that you have to be behind the last defender. You have to be behind the second to last defender. The thing is that the goalkeeper counts as an outfield player. And so 99% of the time, it's going to be the goalkeeper plus an outfield defender. But if the goalkeeper comes off his line and then you need to find two other defenders to have it be offside. If the goalkeeper comes off his line and then there's only one defender, it's no longer offside. Oh, first push by Ecuador here. The cross gets cleared away by Montes. And here comes Angulo trying to make something happen. Back to Caicedo. And for the first time, it seems like Ecuador have picked up some pace into this game. Plata with the cross, cleared away by Sanchez. Oh, and this could be dangerous for Mexico. Here comes Quiñones. Is he going to find Raul Jimenez? No, he's going to slow down the play and straight up get dispossessed. And that's a foul for Ecuador. I had a feeling that it was that game, Anshu, because that's when it paints to. It can get the offside rule can get confusing if you don't explain it properly. Yeah, the American commentator got the offside wrong because the goalkeeper was off his line. I mean, okay, I can understand that because what I assume, and this I do not know the full context, so correct me if I'm wrong. What I assume is that American commentator learned the rules of football to commentate this World Cup, and so basically they had to speed run the rules to him, and they told, look, the offside you have to be behind the last defender, and that doesn't work if the goalkeeper comes off his line, so it changes there. So I can understand if he made that mistake. I did see the ABC reporter who made remarks about Bosnia not being able to point them in a map. Yeah, I mean, I feel like she was just trying to be lighthearted about it because I assure you that most Americans wouldn't be able to point where Bosnia is on a map. She was just trying to play light of the situation, so it is what it is. It backfired like really badly, and now I feel for the US tomorrow against Bosnia. Ah, Alexander, you flatter me like every single time. SSV, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the stream. Most people in general can point to Bosnia on a map. I mean, fair play. Maybe I'm a bit too much of a geography nerd. Um, and I think that football definitely helps with that. Yeah, Jenny is in every single stadium. I don't know how he does it. He has to have like Santa Claus's sleigh or something because there's no way he can travel that fast. All right, 13 minutes have passed. So far, Mexico have looked like the slightly better team. I'm gonna go ahead and end this poll already. It seemed like most people siding with Ecuador on this one, although by a close margin. Out of 10 votes, 6 people went for Ecuador, 4 went for Mexico. Oh, and here come Mexico once again. Here's Quiñones. Is he gonna find Jesus Gallardo? No, it's Alvarado. Fires a shot and takes a deflection. The shot from Alvarado is gonna go out for a corner. Blocked by William Pacho. But once again, Ecuador, as good as a defense as they had in the Conmebol qualifiers, they look very shaky defensively this entire World Cup. They were really caught off position in transition right there. And Quiñones with the breakaway for Alvarado. Alvarado with the shot takes the deflection on Pacho. And now Mexico wins. I believe this is the first corner of the night. And this could be dangerous. Private jet by FIFA. I mean, that would explain a lot, but still, that what a bold fraud. I cannot stand Gianni, for real. Okay, the ref just... Okay, this is something that I don't get, chat, and give me your 2 cents on this. I don't understand refs stopping the play and delaying a corner kick or a free kick for so long just to warn players to not grab each other inside the box. If the players, you warn them once, if the players are still grabbing each other inside the box, just give the damn penalty. Like, if they're grabbing the striker inside the box, just give the damn penalty. Why do referees feel the need to delay a corner kick or a free kick as much as possible just to warn players to not commit a foul? If they commit a foul, just give that. Ooh! And that was a good opportunity right there. Gilberto Mora with the shot, trying to go for Galindez's far post after the cross had been deflected by Ecuador's defense. Gilberto Mora, beautiful shot, just barely doesn't manage to curl it enough for it to go into the far post, but it was really, really close. Galindez had to fly for that one. Very, very close right there. Mexico so far have looked like the better team. Ecuador had like that one breakaway with Angulo. Besides that, it's been all Mexico, although they still have yet to produce a shot on target. It's not been like a super end-to-end game, and it's not like Mexico are battering Ecuador by any means, but so far, Mexico have looked like the better side. And I remember this as well. In the 2024 Copa America, everybody was laughing at Mexico in that final group stage game against Ecuador, which was 0-0. Because that's the game where Mexico actually got grouped at the Copa America and finished behind both Venezuela and Ecuador. But Ecuador had to sweat bullets to get that draw, and Mexico were by far the better team. It's just that they could not score. So like, Ecuador has not fared up against Mexico in the head-to-head, at least in recent times. I agree, Mr. Krause. This has extra time and penalties all over it. It's such a close encounter. This is the best Mexico has played so far. I think it's too early to say that. I mean, I think they looked better in the opening game against South Africa, but then you have to count that as relative to their competition, right? I think that Ecuador are a better side than South Africa at least. But here comes Ecuador. Speaking of the devil. Oh, that's a good breakaway. Ooh! Oh, that had been a good attempt by John Jeboa. Getting past Montes, cutting inside the box, and it hit the post. It straight up hit the post. I thought it had just gone wide, but no. John Jeboa, it hits the near post by Rangel. And it was meant to be a corner as well because Rangel got a touch on it, but the ref is instead giving a goal kick. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Ecuador created the clearest chance of the game. I don't know. I don't think Ecuador are gonna park the bus. I think that they're gonna be pragmatic. They're gonna try to speculate with the result, but I don't think Ecuador are gonna park the bus. No way. No way. Both teams have great defenses, but both teams are gonna go for the win. I'm so confused about how VAR intervenes in corners and when it doesn't. Like, I don't understand when it happens. Elijah asks thoughts on the hype around Mora. Honestly, I haven't seen enough of the guy. Like, I've heard his name a lot, and I watched the Mexican national team a decent bit. I don't watch the Mexican league. Um, I've seen like the highlight reels, but I don't like to judge players on highlight reels. Obviously, in highlight reels, every player looks absolutely cracked and amazing. I think that it's very exciting that Mexico has a talent like Gilberto Mora because Mexico was always a national team that created amazing talent. They do great in under 20 World Cups, in under 17 World Cups, but that never really translates to the senior team. So it's great that Mexico has a prospect for the future that is actually already getting development into the senior team, and that also has a future in Europe too. So in that regard, I feel like that's amazing for Mexico. I don't know if he's bound to be like another superstar, like world class player. Like I have no idea if that's gonna happen. I mean, Mexico are gonna regret a lot of things if they don't win this game. It's not only the missed chances. Yeah, did you see Mr. Krabs like Mexico pulling off uh the Copa Libertadores tactics, going to the opponent's hotel and blowing the fireworks? They were singing mariachi songs, trying to keep them awake. As it has all kicked up here, because Raul Jimenez was thrown against one of the TV cameras, I think, on the side, and both benches now have gone out protesting to each other. I don't think the ref is going to hand any yellow cards for that, but already the atmosphere getting heated here between these two Latin American sides. What is the worst mistake that FIFA have added? Where do we start? Uh, well, I don't know if it's a negative. I haven't been a huge fan of the hydration breaks. I don't think that's a hot take. I see the positives as well because I think just as it cuts the run of play against you, it can also cut the run of play in favor of you. So like you can get benefited or you can get, done dirty by the hydration break on equal level. Like today in Sweden's game against France, I thought that Sweden were actually pretty solid throughout the first 20 minutes. Oh wait, here comes Quiñones breaking away. Once again, the Ecuador defense is spread out. What is Quiñones gonna do? He fires a shot, and there's the goal. And there's the opener for Mexico. Once again, is Julian Quiñones opening the score. And once again, Ecuador are too spread out. Once again, this Ecuador defense that had been so incredibly praised during the Conmebol qualifiers gets undone by somebody running into space. The high line from Ecuador gets exposed once again. And there you go. Moises Caicedo gets dispossessed. They play quickly. That is not offside because that is also another part of the offside rule. If you're behind the halfway point, it's not offside no matter what. So that pass from Alvarado, absolutely key for Julian Quiñones to run into space. Again, Ecuador tracking back have been horrendous. We saw that against Ivory Coast. We saw that against Curacao. We saw that against Germany. Ecuador were leaving themselves really exposed at the back because of that high line that they place, and then they are awful at tracking back. They leave so much space in between them, and that leaves plenty of room for Julian Quiñones to run at the opposition and fire a powerful shot that beats Galindez. And right before the hydration break, like we were talking about, Mexico get there first. Poor from Pacho. Yeah, it's poor tracking back, but it's also like bad from Ecuador defense as a whole. They were really poor at tracking back. They were leaving so much space in between them, and they were not closing in on anybody. And it was a 3v3, and the other Mexican attackers were asking for the pass, but Quiñones just firing his eyes and fires a shot. Absolute cracker to beat Galindez. Oh, but here comes Nilson Angulo now. Ecuador trying to find a response right away, cleared away. Incredible goal, Muka, I agree. I think you need to get off social media since it's causing me anxiety because the Argentina Cabo Verde match. I really hope Argentina plays well. Me too. Me too. We're taking it one step at a time with Argentina. There is a path, but we need to take it game by game, and we need to keep playing the way that we've been playing. If Argentina played the same way we played in the group stage, we should be winning those games. But it's all about keeping that momentum going and not allowing Cabo Verde to play their game against us. If we could score early into that game, that would put a lot of pressure on them and pull a lot of pressure out of our shoulders as well. Mexico have a player who was born in Alaska, Oved Vargas. Huh. You see, SSB. Okay, here's what's complicated about the offside rule as we go into the hydration break. Here's what's complicated about the offside rule. It probably doesn't get a lot fairer than what it is today. Because today, it's extremely harsh, like we saw in the Colombia goal that was disallowed against Portugal and how we saw in the Iran goal that was disallowed against Egypt. The offside rule is extremely harsh in that your toenail could be offside and the goal would get disallowed even though you didn't gain an advantage over the defender to score that goal, right? The thing is, you have to draw the line somewhere because if not, you are putting the offside rule on this subjectivity of the referee. And that is something that you do not want to do. I've been very high on VAR. Like I think that VAR has been a positive introduction into football. I know that some people actually hate VAR, but I think that most people have agreed that VAR has reduced massively the amount of mistakes that referees make in a game of football, and has helped reduce, those kind of scandals. Um, but I think that there also needs to be a little of common sense. Like, there's a reason why referees study to be referees. It's because they have a lot of background with football. They most likely play the game to at least an amateur level. And they have an understanding of the rules of the game more than anybody else. Because they have all that, and they know what it is like to be on a pitch and what it's like to play with a football, they also need to add some common sense to the things that they see on a screen. Because sometimes it feels like VAR is looking for a foul that is not there. We've seen like so many soft penalties get called, so many soft fouls, so many soft handballs, very harsh handballs, very harsh offsides, because VAR is simply looking at the finest of details and looking for something that isn't there. And the referee, because they rely so much on the technology, they feel inclined to believe in it instead of trusting their own instinct and their own common sense. And I feel like VAR needs to be utilized, and referees should rely on VAR, but they should also add some common sense to the equation. So, like, if there's an extremely soft foul that you didn't call, and VAR brings you in, there has to be a moment where a referee says, "Look, that could be a foul. That could also not be a foul." And at that point, I'm gonna use some common sense, and I'm like, just because there was contact, I'm not gonna give the foul, right? That's my 2 cents on it. I was thinking why do I bring this up? That was a huge tangent, but why do I bring this up? Because I feel like something similar could happen with the offside rule, because it could be like if the referee goes to the monitor and he sees that the Colombia player or the Iran player is offside by a toenail, he could be like, look, he's not gaining an advantage from that, I'm not giving that as offside. The thing is that at that point it's just subjective, and then we have to ask the question, well, how much is enough to say you've gained an advantage on the defender? So if you have to draw the line somewhere, I'd rather it be the way it is now, although it's extremely harsh, because otherwise you're just adding more subjectivity to the matter, and I think that doesn't help referees and it doesn't help the game as a whole. The Colombia scored for Mexico. Yeah, Julian Quiñones, originally born in Colombia, of course. Yeah, interrupts the flow of the game, but that can benefit you as much as it can harm you. Like I was talking before the goal, today in the Sweden-France game, I thought that Sweden were playing well up until the hydration break. Up until the hydration break, the game was going exactly the way Sweden wanted it to be. After the hydration break, Swans came in with a second gear and they just rolled over Sweden, and there was nothing that Sweden could do. The game changed after the hydration break. I'm sure of it. If it wasn't for the hydration break, I think that Sweden hold off France until halftime, and then we have a completely different game because France has less time to figure it out. Yeah, ref losing control of the game already. It's a proper Copa Libertadores match. I'm telling you, from the start, from what happened before the game with the Mexico fans going up against the Ecuador hotel, blowing those fireworks, singing the mariachi songs to not let them sleep and whatever. It's already giving Copa Libertadores vibes, and it's getting heated. All right. The chaos would be fun. I agree, SSB. Yeah, what happened to Colombia, obviously. I don't feel like the Wenger law changes anything, Elijah. Because at that point, you're drawing a different line, but it's just as much of a harsh line as before. Oh, what a goal! Oh, Raul Jimenez, what a goal! What a moment! 2-0 Mexico, just like that. I didn't look at the whole play, but that was a poor clearance by Ecuador's defense once again. And Raul Jimenez finds himself on the edge of the box, fires a shot to the top corner, and just like that, Mexico are 2-0 up. I don't know what Ecuador's doing, Mr. Krabs. They have completely lost the plot. Oh, yeah, that was poor from Pracho. Oh, that was so poor from Pacho. He had no reason to push up that far to try and recover the ball. He had no reason to press that high. And once again, Pacho doing a bit too much. It's what leaves Ecuador exposed at the back. But then it's amazing combination play from Mexico. It's beautiful football from the Mexicans. 1-2 touches to find Raul Jimenez on the edge of the box. An amazing finish. And 2-0. Wow. Yeah, I mean, the first one, I was blaming it more on Ecuador's defensive shape being faulty. This time, it's very hard not to single out Pacho for that mistake. Raul Jimenez, Mexico's outright second highest goal scorer with 47 after this goal. Mr. Krabs, if it's Mexico England in the Azteca, that is an amazing game. That is an absolute cinema game. The atmosphere in that is gonna be crazy. Legendary game, legendary status game instantly. Yeah, Klopp said something too about VAR. Yeah, what I was saying, Elijah, about the Wenger rule, like at that point you're just drawing the line somewhere else, and I think you're obviously giving the benefit to the attacker, and it's very likely that we see a lot more goals if the Wenger law gets introduced, but you're just drawing the line somewhere else, and we're also gonna be somebody be this time somebody be onside for half a toenail. It's crazy to think about that this is the same William Pacho who plays for PSG. And he's alongside a Piero Incapié who won the Premier League and played a Champions League final with Arsenal. And in front they have Moises Caicedo as their CDM. And still they defend like that. It's crazy to think about that Ecuador conceded only 5 goals in Conmebol qualifiers. And they've already conceded 5 goals this World Cup. Crazy stuff. Oh, Desert Tune, thank you so much for joining. Long time no see as well. Yeah, Mexico, England would be an epic clash, but we still have a bit to go in this game, and I'm still not ruling out DR Congo. I'm not ruling out Congo in that England game. I'm not. Dave Street, thank you so much for joining. 3:30 in the morning in England. Yikes. Yeah, the timing of some of these 4 Cup games have been a bit poor. Luckily for me, like most of them are on the daytime. This is like the latest kickoff. I mean, I've also had games starting at midnight. Those have been the worst so far. I think one started at 1 a.m. It might have been a Japan game or something like that. I straight up didn't watch that. I didn't bother. My sleep schedule is fucked as it is already, so like. So how do Ecuador respond from here? Because they look rattled, man, and they have not created, besides that John J. Watt chance that hit the post, which was basically a moment of brilliance by him. Ecuador has not created anything as a team, and they are still on the back foot. Like, Mexico is still pushing. Like, this is getting bad. I'll take this over at 4 a.m. Liverpool game at Country. Hell yeah. I don't know. Ecuador's defense this entire World Cup, like, it's not even this game. This is the exact same thing that has happened to Ecuador this entire World Cup. They leave so much space behind them, and this is something they never did in Conmebol. In the qualifiers, they were never this exposed. They were always very, very organized. But this time, like, their tracking back is horrendous. They leave so much space in between them, and they are so deorganized to try and find their man, decide who to mark. At 3-0, well, we're already talking about a pretty tough mountain to climb for Ecuador if it gets to that below. All right, free kick for Ecuador now on Caicedo. And Quinones is talking back to him. It's getting heated. Like Quinones is the one to foul Caicedo. Caicedo kind of sold that. Like he dove kind of, and then Quinones just shush him. Oh man, it's heating up. I love it. I love the energy of these Latin American clashes. It just does. You just don't see this at any other type of game. Like you saw today, the France Sweden game. Nobody says a thing about each other. There wasn't a single yellow card in that game. I was like, how does an entire World Cup game go? How are you getting eliminated and you don't try to take someone's leg off at least? Oh, that is a horrible free kick from Caicedo. Dude, the pitch is 100 meters long and 70 meters wide. How can you not put a cross inside the pitch? How do you miss the pitch? That is insane. Dude, they're showing the replay. What is Pacho doing? Like what? Why did Pacho feel the need that he needed to chase after Raul Jimenez that entire time? And the worst part is that the only time that he needed to be on Raul Jimenez was when Raul was on the edge of the box. That was the only time where Pacho was not on him, and that's why he was able to get the shot off. But him chasing Raul Jimenez opens up the space behind him for Mexico to start that play. Create a few combinations, tiki-taka, a few triangles like Pep, and then Raul Jimenez with an amazing finish. And does that. Here comes Ecuador though. That's a great shot. What a save by Rangel. What a save by Rangel. Once again, Jeboa trying to make something happen for Ecuador. Tries to curl it into the far post. But Rangel, first shot of the night for the Mexican keeper. And now it's going to be a corner for Ecuador. But Ecuador finally showing some signs of life here. I also thought it was going to be cagey, but so far, this has been very open for both teams, but mostly for Mexico, obviously. Let's see if Ecuador can do something happen in the set piece now. Can they bring the terrorism from Arteta into their team? Nope, that's going to get cleared away. I want chaos from every game, Willow. Like, France versus Sweden was so dull. Because after the first hydration break, where it seemed like Sweden may do something because France were not fighting a way forward, France just rolled over them, and Sweden laid there and let themselves get rolled over. So, like, ooh, okay, Angulo once again trying to square one in, and Alvarado is the one who clears the ball away, and it's going to be another corner for Ecuador. Like, Willow, I want to see teams fighting back. If you're getting bent over, fight back. Like, Sweden were just taking it, and they seem to be enjoying it. Caicedo with the crossing, cleared away with a punch by Rangel. Metal music at the venue. Halftime show, perhaps. I agree, Alexandra. Like, this World Cup has had an amazing round of goals. Like, I did not expect the amount of goals that we're seeing this World Cup, and I think that the hydration breaks have to do with how many goals you're seeing, because you see how revitalized the players come after every hydration break. They have so much more legs. They're able to run so much more that it actually produces more goals, in my opinion. But also, like, the tactic itself, like, we're seeing a lot more goals than I ever expected at a World Cup. It's insane. So yeah, I expected this to be a dull, cagey game, but has been anything but so far. Is there gonna be another corner? Nope, now it's gonna be a goal kick. After Hincapié tried to head that one in. I don't know if Ecuador need a goal before the half, but they need to make something happen. Where was this Ecuador when the game started? I have no idea. Like, Ecuador is such a weird team, man. Ecuador look what Ecuador look like what I expected Colombia to look like. I expected Colombia to look like this. Like a team that can be dangerous going forward, that can create chances, but were sometimes too afraid to do so, that were naive defensively, that have no real trust in themselves, and that only remember to play the game when they're already 2-0 down. Like I expected Colombia to look like this, and Colombia have looked extremely more competent than I expected them to be. And Ecuador look a lot more incompetent than I expected them to be. Like I expected Ecuador to not score many goals, and they have not scored many goals. To be fair, only two. Um, but I expected them to be a lot more difficult to break down. And so far, every single team has created quality chances against Ecuador, including Curacao. So like, it has not been a good look for Ecuador so far. Honestly, Willow just turned it into an MMA event. Like, screw it. The spot in the round 16 is decided by a match on the octagonal. Hockey fight, that too. Sebastian Becasese has been on fraud watch forever. He only got out of fraud watch by beating Germany. Otherwise, his job was on the line. He was gone. Like his job was not on the line. He was gone if he didn't beat Germany. And he may as well be gone now. That's another shot. Ooh, just wide by Raul Jimenez once again. That one, to be fair, was a bit more optimistic than the goal that he scored. But no shame in attempting that. And yeah, it goes wide. Okay, how much stoppage time are we gonna have? I feel like they always have been adding like at least 3 minutes. I have a feeling that it's gonna be 3 minutes. If Ecuador could find anything before halftime, it would be a massive momentum boost for them, and it would ask some serious questions to Mexico's defense. 5 minutes of stoppage time, never mind. Yeah, Mexico are looking really good. Mexico have been cooking, and I think that you could point to Mexico not being convincing in the group stage despite not conceding a single goal and winning all three games, because based on their opposition, that should have been expected of them. But like, they made light work of that group. And now in this game, they're dominating too. And this is supposed to be one of Conmebol's best sides. If Mexico win this game, especially this comfortably, they have to be taken as a serious threat. I'm not suddenly saying that Mexico are gonna win the World Cup, but like, who are you to say they cannot make a quarterfinal or something like that, right? If they continue playing like this. Okay, first booking of the night, Alan Franco for Ecuador. Thank you, Anshu. Yeah, the growth that we saw during that Copa America was amazing. Like that's where I gained most of my followers. And yeah, everyone, remember to subscribe. We're close to 2,000 subscribers, and I was hoping to hit that during the World Cup. To be fair, the growth of the channel hasn't really been that quick during the World Cup, but if you could subscribe and help us get even closer to those 2,000 subscribers, it will mean the world to me. All right, great challenge there by Sanchez to deny Ecuador a potential opportunity. But now the South Americans once again on the ball, trying to find anything. John Jawa gets fouled now. Extra support, John is a member, sure, but I'm not promoting the memberships anymore. But if you want to be a member of the channel, that will help me out a ton as well. You can get the emotes like Willow is using. The emotes are still there. The badges are still there. All right, free kick for Ecuador. Moises Caicedo is going to have to put this one inside the box. That is a good cross. It's not a good cross. It's the second time that Caicedo has straight up missed the pitch. Like, how do you miss? I told you, it's 100 meters long, 70 meters wide. You cannot put in a cross and miss the pitch. It's simply not possible. You're a professional footballer. Put that inside the box. It doesn't really need to be a good cross. Put it inside the box. Give your team a chance. Everybody went up for that free kick, and Ecuador got nothing from it. Didn't even force Mexico to defend it or clear it. What would it mean to you as an Argentine if Argentina wins this World Cup? And would it match the same excitement as energy as Argentina's 2022 World Cup win? Huh. In terms of an achievement, I think winning this World Cup would be a bigger achievement than the one in 2022, simply based on this World Cup having more teams, having an extra round. So you, instead of winning 7 games, you need to win 8 games to win the World Cup. Based on the fact that it's so hard to go back to back, based on the fact that you're still relying on a 39-year-old Messi, based on the fact that the competition around seems to only have gotten better, because France looks better than in 2022, Spain looks better than in 2022, England to an extent, you could say. I don't think England looked better, but you could say Portugal looked better, Colombia looked better. Colombia was there. Like, Colombia wasn't even there in 2022. You can never rule out Brazil or somebody like that. You can never rule out somebody like Morocco. I think this Morocco team looks better than the 2022 as well. So considering the entire opposition as the ref blows the whistle for the end of the first half, considering the playing field and it being an expanded World Cup, I feel like it would be a bigger accomplishment. And with how hard it is to go back to back, it would be a more impressive achievement to win this World Cup. On a personal level, this is the first World Cup that I'm first of all covering as a journalist. It's not the first World Cup that I'm covering for you guys, because I was there for the 2022 World Cup, just not doing the watch-alongs. I was just doing the match reactions. So my first World Cup as a journalist, just covering it, either whether it be at college or whether it be at this media outlet that I'm working for. It would mean a lot, obviously. But I'm living here on my own in Buenos Aires. I will get to see the celebrations on the street on the Obelisco for the first time. But I think that what made the 2022 World Cup so special to me is that I was able to watch it with my dad. And with my dad, you know, we watched the 2014 World Cup final. We watched both the Copa America finals that we lost to Chile in 2015 and 2016. We went through all of the hardships together of the national team. To finally win that Copa America in 2021 with him was so special. And to win the World Cup watching it with him was what made it so special on an emotional level. So I don't think this World Cup is going to match that excitement just because I don't have my father or any of my relatives here to watch it with. But in terms of an accomplishment and how amazing it would feel like, it's an absolute dream. It would be a dream come true for sure. But we don't have to get us ahead of ourselves. We have that match against Cabo Verde first on July 3rd, which we're going to do a watch along for. I still don't know if I'm going to be here or if I'm going to be back at the bar, because I kind of want to go back to the bar to watch the knockout games. But I still have to decide on that. So let me make a quick poll to know would you want uh, Portugal, Croatia watch along? I have a feeling I know what you guys are gonna respond, but just let me ask the question anyway because I want to focus on more on the Conmebol teams. But um, and just to clarify, that would not be a hate watch. I'm not hate watching Ronaldo, okay? I'm not hate watching Ronaldo. So that would not be a hate watch. That would not count as a hate watch. Um, but just saying, if you guys want to see that. Okay, let me catch up on some. I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find a good balance between, my college work and working for this media outlet and just in general. So like, I'm trying to find time to give to the channel. Obviously, I've been finding it very hard since you see by my upload schedule and me not doing as many watch-alongs as I would have liked, especially during the group stage where I only did the Argentina games. But now I'll try to make as many as I can, obviously. How do you think England would do in the Azteca and France? I don't. You see, playing in the Azteca has two different difficulties. One, it's the altitude. Europeans not really being uh, accustomed to playing in that sort of height. The air is different. It can mess up with how you breathe or even with how the ball moves. And then obviously the home atmosphere. If you were to go up against Mexico, especially in the case of England, I feel like France, just based on their pure quality, would probably deal with it better because England don't have any difference maker like in a number 10 role. They have a tough time breaking down these teams like Mexico who are so good defensively. So like, I feel like England will struggle at the Azteca if it comes to that. France would probably like Mexico would give France a tough game, I would expect, but like I feel like France would have a much better shot at coming away of that game unscathed. While I feel like England are gonna have to sweat blood and tears to get out of that game against Mexico. Halftime questions. Which teams did you think were three dark horses before the World Cup started versus three teams you think are dark horses currently? Um, my dark horse pick was Switzerland. And I don't know if I'm ready to give up on that yet. I kind of feel like I have to give up on it. My other shot was I don't consider Morocco a dark horse anymore. Like I don't. I think that Morocco are straight up a good team and they've shown it many times already. I don't think Morocco are a dark horse. Um I think Ecuador were a dark horse. And personally, I mean, I had Turkey making it out of the group. I had Turkey topping the group, so like I would have to count Turkey and that prediction aging absolutely horrible. I think that dark horses now, Norway has to be the biggest dark horse now. Norway is the biggest dark horse, I feel like. And now they go up against Brazil, which, funnily enough, Norway is one of the few nations that actually has a positive head to head record against Brazil. So, like, if they can keep up those performances, um, could be very interesting that game. Mexico has to be a dark horse. The USA have to be a dark horse. And I think those would be the three personally. Thoughts on Uruguay's World Cup group stage performance? Obviously horrible, but I think that Uruguay would have made it out of the group if it wasn't for Muslera having that many howlers. Like Muslera basically conceded their 4 goals. Like the 4 goals that they conceded were basically Muslera's fault. If they have a competent goalkeeper, I feel like even as horrible as they played, they make it out of that group comfortably. I would dare I say. So like, as horrible I think Uruguay were, as uncreative and as toothless as they were in attack, and as naive as defensively as they were, and as bad as Federico Valverde was, I think that if they have a competent goalkeeper there in the knockouts, easily. But Muslera shot the bed on every single game, so there was nothing to be done. And obviously, horrendous it being the only Conmebol nation to be eliminated. Thoughts on Paraguay's penalty win over Germany? Massively deserved. I was obviously super happy for Paraguay. Most of the Paraguay players either have played or currently play in the Argentine league, so it was like seeing a national team made out of Argentine league players basically go up against Germany. And the fact that they played so well, they stuck to their plan, they stuck to their guns, they took an early lead, they annoyed Germany for most of that game. They created the better opportunities. And despite Germany having more of the ball, having more XG, whatever you want to call it, I feel like Paraguay played really, really well, and they deserved to go through. The penalty shootout was super dramatic. They almost bottled it, but they made it happen. And yeah, I was super happy for them, obviously, and my hatred for Germany continues as well. What is your analysis of Argentina's group stage games? My analysis is that Argentina has looked extremely solid. Argentina has looked less dominant than in 2022. I think that, well, not in the group stage. In the group stage, obviously, Argentina weren't dominant at all in 2022. But I think that once the knockouts came about, Argentina dominated every single knockout game, and it just happened that we got really unlucky with some of the plays. But that's exactly my point. Argentina looked more dominant. The midfield was a lot faster, and we were creating a lot more chances, but also we are leaking a lot more chances. I think that this Argentina team is a lot more mature in the sense that we leak so very few chances. I think that we've conceded 2 shots on target the entire group stage. One of them was a goal against Jordan. Credit to Jordan, but obviously we're playing a B team ourselves. And so I'm not really too worried that we leaked that goal. Against Austria and Algeria, which I think are the games that you have to take into account because Argentina were playing the main team, and obviously the game against Jordan didn't have any implications because the standings were already decided for both teams. When you look at those 2 games, yes, the attack was carried by Messi, but the midfield was putting in a shift. The midfield was playing amazingly and making everything happen to put Argentina in those goal scoring opportunities. And then the defense was rock solid, and we didn't leak any chances to the opposition. Algeria and Austria didn't have a single clear chance. And so when I look at that, I'm like, this team may not be as exciting as the 2022 side, but everybody knows what the role is. The team is so mature, and we're not conceding those chances that we conceded in 2022 that costed us losing those leads and conceding those equalizers before. So, like, in that regard, I've been really content with how Argentina played in the group stage, and I feel like if we continue down that path, we can compete against anybody and we can make a deep run once again. So very, very satisfied. Need to see more from the strikers. I feel like Lautaro has been better than Julian, but I need to see more from Julian Alvarez, and I need to see Lautaro score from open play. Need the midfielders to be more involved in the offensive phases of play. Besides that, Messi's the GOAT. Messi does good things, and Argentina win games. That's what it is. As for weaknesses, still worried about the fitness of some of the players, especially in the back line, with Cuti Romero potentially being an injury concern, with Tagliafico, with Julian Alvarez. So yeah, we have to pay attention to the fitness of those players, especially. Besides that, obviously, people were doubting the fullback position. Understandably so, because Molina was not the best right back defensively, and Tagliafico was coming off an injury as well. So, if our fullbacks were to go up against world-class wingers, I feel like we've proven already that we can pocket those world-class wingers, but like, I would be scared going up against Andolise and Prime Dembele and those type of players, Lamine Yamal and whatnot, right? So we will have to see how we set up tactically to avoid giving up chances to those types of teams. But so far, Argentina has looked so solid, and you can say that we haven't played a top nation yet, but we've played very good teams in Algeria and Austria. They are like second-tier nations for sure. They are dark horse potential. I feel like Argentina has been extremely solid, and I don't have much to complain there. The bar with friends, watch along again. I mean, sure, we can make that watch along against between Portugal and Croatia happen. They play tomorrow at 8 p.m. my time in Toronto. So yeah, we can make Portugal Croatia happen. It is not a hate watch. I repeat, it is not a hate watch. Oh, it says tomorrow because it's already past midnight, by the way. So like tomorrow is actually England DR Congo, which the winner of this game is gonna play up against, and Belgium Senegal, which is a game that I have to commentate for this media outlet. And where I expect Senegal to win, honestly. Belgium has been so underwhelming. And then later, obviously, USA Bosnia. The day after that, Spain Austria, which should be an easy game for Spain, but you never know. And Portugal Croatia, the battle of the Unks, CR7 against LM10, but it's not Messi, it's Modric. Interesting battle too. So yeah, if you guys are up for that, I feel like that's the game that calls to me the most for sure. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip of water. I've been yapping a lot. England always lose to the first top 8 ranked teams they play in the World and Euro Cups. And who are the first top 8 team that England could play? I think it's Brazil in the quarterfinals, right? Chad, be honest. Would this Brazil team beat England? They actually might. England are not impressive, but Brazil look mid too. But England are not impressive. Like Brazil may beat England, guys. Like I don't know if that again happens. Heck, Mexico in the Azteca may beat England, which would be a shock, but it could happen. Heck, we've been hyping it up since the start of the stream. DR Congo can beat England on their day. They can. They for sure can. Somebody has actually voted no to doing that watch along, by the way. I respect that. But I think the overwhelming majority wants me to do that watch along. Why is Ecuador struggling so much here? I wish I could explain it to you because this Ecuador team looks so different, especially defensively. Because offensively, we knew they would struggle, and they have been struggling. But like defensively, how are they so open at the back? Is unexplicable to me. I don't understand it whatsoever. Shocking to me how Ecuador can be so open defensively every single time. I don't know, James, what is going on with Ecuador. Have no idea. They're making 2 substitutions. They're bringing in Angelo Preciado to bring in more width, and they're also bringing Medina to bring in some stability to the midfield. Ordóñez and Franco subbed out. That is the right call by Becasese. To be fair with Becasese, like he got the starting 11 wrong in my opinion, but this is the call to make if he wants to make a comeback here. He needs Kevin Rodriguez though inside the box as well. Can Mexico get into a semi-final? Semi-final may be a stretch. But if they can't... Okay, they're qualifying to round of 16, where they will most likely play England. I feel like they are the underdogs against England, but they could beat them. Quarterfinals, Brazil. And they are already, by the quarterfinals, they have to play in Miami, not at the Azteca. I feel like they cannot. I feel like it's a quarters max for Mexico, and quarters would be amazing for Mexico. As we're very close to the start, and on their way we go for the second half here of Mexico 2, Ecuador 0. Ecuador trying to claw their way back into the game with the substitutions of Medina and Preciado. Can they make something happen here? Which Argentine player has surprised you the most in this World Cup, if any? I would have to say Facundo Medina, because once Tagliafico got injured, I was really dreading seeing Medina in that left back position because He had not convinced me during the friendlies, and he did fantastically against both Algeria and Austria, to the point that Tagliafico's role as the starting left back is starting to get questioned. Although I expect Tagliafico to be back as the starting left back against Cabo Verde, I would not be surprised if Medina were to make an appearance there. As Mexico already have another shot by Alvarado, again finding lots of space. It looks so scrappy by Ecuador. Their defense is so scrappy. I don't understand how they are that deorganized. I don't understand. How can they be this shaky? This team conceded 5 goals in 18 Conmebol qualifier matches. And they are this exposed at the back every single time Mexico push forward with the ball. It's crazy. So what happens if Brazil versus England both last 20 years lose to big teams? That is anybody's game. I feel like today, who would I favor in that game? I don't know who I would favor in that game. Could Argentina beat this Brazil? Dude, we beat them 4-1 the last time we played. I feel like we would be favorites against Brazil. It would be a very difficult game. But I feel like we would be favorites against Brazil, surely. Obviously, we can beat Brazil. Alexandra wants England to win the World Cup. Okay, I'll do the watchalong. I'll close the poll. Haaland should have played for England. Dude, imagine if England had Kane and Haaland. Would that be good? Could they play together, or would that be bad? I feel like they wouldn't work well off each other. I feel like Haaland and Kane wouldn't work well off each other. But that would be an amazing player for England to have, obviously. Instead, Norway has it, and now they are one of the dark horses, and Haaland is chasing that golden boot as well. You beat Dorival Jr., can you beat Carlos Ancelotti's Brazil? Mr. Krabs, I don't know what you're seeing. I have not been convinced by Brazil, like, at all. Like, at all. The two half-decent teams that they played, which were Morocco and Japan, gave them lots of trouble. Lots of trouble. Brazil looked lost in the first half against both Morocco and Japan. They only drew with Morocco because Vini found that wild goal to keep them in it, and they only beat Japan because Japan have an inferiority complex. They parked the bus way too early, they started spamming crosses into the box, and they were able to find the equalizer and the winner because of that. Otherwise, Brazil has looked not convincing at all. Like, they have a Vini in great form, they have a Mateus Cunha who has shown to be a reliable striker, and they've shown that Bruno Guimaraes is a great provider of assists. Besides that, Casemiro looks extremely slow. He is done so. The other side, Ryan made a couple of good cameos, Endrick made a couple of good cameos. The defense is not solid in my opinion. I don't care that it's Marquinhos and Gabriel. That defense is not solid. Alisson is not what he used to be, despite him making a couple of big saves against Japan. I do not trust Brazil. I think that when they go up against a big team, they're out. That being said, if they go up against England, I don't know who's going out then. But I don't see how Brazil beat an Argentina or a France. Excuse me, I'm having hiccups. Kane, Haaland, Olise, and Musiala for England, dude. England had such potential there with that one. No, I'm not taking the mod away from that. No, don't worry. England developed Saka, Olise, Palmer, Foden, Semenyo, and we have Madueke played. That's crazy. It's crazy. How is Saka not starting ahead of Madueke? That is so insane to me. That is kind of wild. Yeah, Neymar is doing nothing this World Cup. Neymar is not fit. Like, I think that Ancelotti just didn't want the backlash of not bringing Neymar to affect the camp and the national team as a whole. Because if anything went wrong for Brazil, you know that everybody would be going to Carlos' throat saying this wouldn't have happened if Neymar was here. So I feel like he's taking Neymar just so he doesn't have to hear those critics. Because Neymar is doing nothing this World Cup, I'm sorry. I wonder how an England versus Argentina currently would go. I feel like it would be a tight game, but I feel like Argentina match up really well stylistically into England. Really well. Like I think, no cap, England has a better chance of beating France than they have of beating Argentina in my eyes. Just because stylistically, I feel like England can do more damage to France than they can do to Argentina. Argentina are so solid, and I feel like we would boss that midfield. We would boss that midfield. How would Ecuador do under Alfaro if he stayed, or even Felix Sanchez here? Felix Sanchez wouldn't do a goddamn difference. Under Felix Sanchez, it would have probably been worse. If they had Gustavo Alfaro, I feel like they could have challenged for the group. Alfaro did wonders with this team. I feel like they could have challenged for the group. Here comes Ener Valencia though, gets blocked, and that's gonna be a corner for Ecuador. Finally, something happening in the game again. No offside, flag is up. Never mind. Felix Sanchez is not doing a difference. Like he is another disciple of Becasese. Like it's crazy. That was not offside, by the way. Like I don't know what the ref is calling there. The linesman was wrong. That was not offside. Thank you to everyone who joined the stream, by the way. Like the support that these streams are getting, like you guys are amazing. Like Mr. Krabs, SSB, James, Elijah before, Alexandra now rejoining, everybody who usually joins the streams. Uh, well, Dave, I don't want to forget any names because Willow obviously now joining, Muka, Anshu, everybody, and obviously some people that usually join the Argentina streams and didn't manage to be here. Thank you so much for joining. Like, I cannot believe that you choose this guy to talk about football while you watch a football game. So, like, thank you for being so consistently here for all of the watch-alongs. Like, it means a lot to me. So here's hoping that we can do many more. That Portugal Croatia one that you guys seem to be looking forward to, and then obviously Argentina against Cabo Verde on July 3rd. Do you think this Morocco way of assembling a team is sustainable? I don't think it is. What do you mean by that? Like assembling a national team on players that are not born in your country? Is that what you mean? Ooh, Nilson Angulo, that was a poor pass back, and that is not a foul. The ref says play on. And now here comes Mexico on the counter attack. This time Ecuador tracked back a lot better. That was a lot better defending from Ecuador. As somebody from Ecuador is still on the ground. I believe it was Yeboah. If you use all diaspora players and essentially outsourcing your team development. I don't think there's a problem with that. I mean, I feel like it's the FIFA needs to change some things about how you can choose to represent your nation, in my opinion. I feel like diaspora is fine. Like if you weren't born in the country, but you know you have ancestry from there, it's fine. But something like what, for example, what the United Arab tongue twister, what the United Arab Emirates do, like the UAE, where basically they sign Brazilian footballers for their local league, and after they spend 4 years playing in the Arab League, they can nationalize themselves as Arabs and play for the UAE national team. Like, that is bullshit to me, because the state is the one that funds the clubs that buy those players and then allow them to nationalize into Arab citizens for them to represent the national team. So it's a government campaign to get players from other countries to play for your country. It's not diaspora or them having an ancestry from the United Arab Emirates. It's straight up campaign to literally sign players for the national team, which shouldn't be a thing. It is different, SSB. It is different because those 11 Moroccans that took to the field, and none of them were born in Morocco, have Moroccan roots. It is different. The Brazilians that play for the UAE do not have Arab roots. They are only there because they played for long enough in the Arab League to be able to nationalize themselves and get citizenship. But they are not Arabs. The Moroccan players that are there, even though they were not born in Morocco, they are Moroccan because they have Moroccan ancestry. It's the same thing with Nico Paz for Argentina. Nico Paz was born in Spain, and if you hear his accent in his interviews, it's a full-on Iberian Spanish accent. But he is Argentinian because his parent is Argentinian, and he decided to represent Argentina. So it's kind of the same thing. Then you could question if FIFA should impose a limit on your squad based on that. But I feel like what FIFA should do is not allow citizens to play for the national team, and instead allow players who were either born in that nation or have ancestry play for that nation. Yeah, Malaysia also had a lot of Argentines and a lot of Brazilians too, with no relation to the country whatsoever. Should Pulisic go for play for Croatia? Then, by that logic, if he chooses to, he chose the US though. I feel like if Pulisic had chosen Croatia because of his ancestry, that is not wrong. Yeah, the Congo is 85% foreign born too. Most of the African teams and the Caribbean teams, like Curacao, only one player was born in Curacao, and that was Chong. The rest were born in the Netherlands and have Curaçaoan ancestry. Like, I don't know. I don't see something wrong with that. I have a problem with what the UAE does, because that's a state practice to try and get players for your national team from other countries, even though they have no relation to your country whatsoever. I don't have a problem with players who weren't born in a country representing that country as long as they have ancestry. I don't see how that is the same. Does everyone hate dehydration? Which is actually the advertising breaks, or is it just the British? No, everybody hates it. Like at every stadium, every time the hydration break happens, there's boos and whistling. So like everybody hates it. Thank you, Muka, for the praise and the shout out. Anyway, I didn't mention this, but Kevin Rodriguez is on the pitch. Ener Valencia is out. Also, Mexico subbed out Gilberto Mora. So now we will see if Ecuador can do something after I've been yapping for so long that nothing has even happened in the game. Now we have to see if Ecuador, with a bit of a more dynamic striker, can actually make something happen in the offense to claw their way back into this game. What is Alfaro gonna do against France in the round 16? Exactly the same thing he did against Germany. The thing is that France have a lot better players to break through a low block than Germany does. France has a lot more quality than Germany does. So like, if beating Germany was a miracle, I don't know what beating France would be. But they're gonna make it tougher than Sweden, I can promise you that much. It is gonna be a tougher game than what Sweden did today. I promise you that much. But for Paraguay to beat France, it's gonna take like some titanic effort and also a bit of luck. But Alfaro is not gonna deviate from his plan. He's gonna do exactly the same thing that he did against Germany. Defend well, not allow any spaces, annoy the opponent. Sure, SSB, I agree that you have to develop your own talent, but Morocco is a nation, at least compared to the rest of Africa, that can afford the facilities to make that development happen. And they've actually developed a decent bit of players, although their current national team is mostly based off of foreign-born players. And I think that the success of this national team will also inspire a generation of Moroccans to practice football within the country, and that will bring a new generation of Moroccan players as well. Mocha, thank you so much for joining the bowlers, for joining the members of the channel. You totally didn't have to do that, but thank you so much for doing it anyway. Enjoy being able to use, there we go, the stickers and the emojis and whatnot. It's World Cup time, baby. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. You totally didn't have to do that, by the way. But thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Alex, but at that point, like, it gets tricky. Like, where do you draw the line? Like, how much percentage is enough, right? Like, at that point, you're walking a fine line once again. Yeah, it is a new concept. It comes with globalization because we didn't have, of course, we had immigrants, but we didn't have this type of immigration with refugees or stuff like that that make things, so complicated for um, diaspora players and whatnot. It is a very recent development. Yes, exactly. Only one Curacao player was born in Curacao, which was Chong. All of the other ones were born in the Netherlands. 25 out of 26. So there you go. Okay, cross into the box by Ecuador from a corner, gets cleared away. No, no, and Ecuador does not look good. Ecuador is not looking good. That cross by Preciado went to absolutely nobody. Ecuador are absolutely clueless. It's gonna take a miracle. I think that if by any miracle Ecuador score a goal, we could have ourselves a game, but they are not creating anything, man. They are not cohesive. I did. I've had ever since I surpassed 1,000 subscribers. So after the 2024 Copa America, I was able to create memberships, I think. Even before that, I think. I think memberships were unlocked when I crossed 500 subscribers. Yeah, Qatar did kind of a similar thing, but the UAE, in my opinion, was the most egregious one, at least of the ones that I've seen. But Malaysia and Qatar did similar thing. I'm surprised that Saudi Arabia has not done something similar, honestly. You would expect, considering that Saudi Arabia are going to host the World Cup in 2034, that it would start making some efforts to actually play the sport well. Still wondering why Becasese decided to play a high line, which led to the first goal and the second goal totally self-inflicted. He's been playing a high line this entire World Cup, and it makes no sense. Because Ecuador have never been this exposed at the back in the Conmebol qualifiers. Never, ever. They've always been so solid. And this entire World Cup, he's been trying this high line. And Ecuador don't know how to track back. And they've left themselves exposed against every single team they've gone up against. And here they go again. Here comes Quiñones once again. And how is Ecuador gonna respond? Quinones inside the box tries to put in a cross, gets blocked, and it's not gonna be a corner. Like, once again, they're leaving themselves exposed. It's so mind blowing. It's insanity. Why would you keep doing the same thing over and over again if you see that it's not working? It's crazy. Becasese needs to go. Becasese needs to go. Like, I don't care if you beat Germany. I don't care that you beat Germany. First of all, you draw points to Curacao. That should have been enough to fire him. By some miracle of the gods, he beat Germany, right? Because Germany are also incredible frauds. It's not even losing to Mexico. Losing to Mexico at the Azteca, you know what? Fine. It's a performance. Ecuador are doing absolutely nothing. And every time that Mexico push forward, it looks like it's gonna be a goal. Yeah, in Argentina there are many clubs that would take Becasese. He's taken so many jobs here. Was an absolute throw. Oh, what a save by Galindez! That was almost 3-0. Cesar Montes with the header, jumping higher than anybody else. Ecuador completely lost him. Nobody was marking him. And Galindez, with one hand, makes an incredible stop. And that's gonna be another corner for Mexico. Oh my days. Almost 3-0 right there. That would have been game over. Another crossing. Again, they win the header, but this time it goes wide. Again, Montes wins the header. How does the same player win 2 headers in a row? How do you lose that? I don't understand, man. I really don't get it. What are they doing? That was a foul on Hincapié anyway. But like, how do you lose a header to the same player twice in a row? That is crazy to me. What are the tactics in defending? How do you defend set pieces? Hydration break. Jesus Christ. Like, Ecuador are all over the place. They need a goal pronto. Kind of reminds me of Hansi Flick's Highland at Barca. Yeah, you need those sorts of players. And for the longest time, it was also affecting the way Barcelona were defending. But like, once it works, it was wonderful, right? But you need specific players. You know, this is kind of the same thing that I was saying after the Mexico South Africa game that Pep has ruined football. Now everybody thinks they can play out from the back. South Africa didn't know how to play out from the back. You do not have the center backs to play out from the back. And they were still trying that, and that's how they gave both goals away to Mexico. And the red card too. So like, nah, man. Kind of insane. Kind of insane what we're witnessing. Like, what is Ecuador doing, man? What a save from Galindez that was. You know what's crazy? According to Furmov, Mexico have had 2 big chances, 3 big chances, because now it's updated with that header by Montes. 3 big chances, and they've missed all 3 of them. Like, the 2 goals that they scored were not big chances. They were just incredible shots by Quiñones and Raúl Jiménez. But then the first header by Jimenez on the fast break that went wide, the diving header, was a big chance. This header by Montes was a big chance. And what else was a big chance, according to Furmo, that they missed? I don't know. That's kind of crazy. No, yeah, 2 big chances. It is 2 big chances, not 3. They corrected it. But yeah, the 2 goals have not been good chances. Like, according to Furmo, this game could be like 4-0, although Mexico has 0.89 xg, Ecuador has 0.26 xg, while Mexico has 0.89. Jesus, I don't know how to speak. Okay, 2 changes are coming in Mexico. I see Santiago Jimenez, aka El Bebote, More likely coming on for Raul Jimenez, I would imagine. Yeah, Ecuador have no tactics. It's kind of embarrassing. Exactly. Everybody needs to subscribe. It's free and it keeps you updated on these streams and more videos that I post, and also makes you incredibly cool and likable. Alright, Ecuador trying to play out from the back? No, just put the ball away and see if Kevin Rodriguez can do something. Okay, Angulo is actually gonna win it. Can Angulo make something out of this? Jimenez is kinda grabbing onto him. Angulo is trying to draw in a foul. Let's see, he plays back. Ecuador was set up terribly, but the beautiful thing about football is that if Ecuador randomly find a goal here out of nowhere, it's game on. So it's not over until it's over. They would have been better off parking the bus. I agree with that. To that extent, yeah, because with how they left themselves exposed for both of those goals, I feel like they would have made it much difficult for Mexico if they just parked the bus. If they just played harambol, because to leave yourself that exposed and then create nothing in the offense, like I understand if you were going blow for blow, but you're not creating chances. That cross was good though. It's cleared away by the Mexican defense, and now it's gonna be a corner. Let's see if Ecuador can do something happen in the set piece at least. Somebody win a header with a header like Kevin Rodriguez or Pacho or Caicedo, Hincapié, somebody win a header, please. Okay, they play the corner short. Now they're putting the cross. Oh, that was actually a decent cross for Kevin Rodriguez. Barely missed the ball. And that's going to be a goal kick for Mexico. Gonzalo Plata was the one who was diving for it, actually. Close. Exactly. Like, people start stopping you in the streets because you just look so damn awesome when you're subbed to my channel. Anyway, yeah, Raul Jimenez subbed out for Santi Jimenez, while Vargas is coming on for Luis Romo. Two substitutions for Mexico. Actually, story time as the substitutions come in. Did I ever tell you guys that I got recognized IRL? Somebody here in Buenos Aires grabbed me by the shoulder and asked me, "Are you the guy from YouTube that does the football videos on English?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And he was like, "Dude, I watched your videos. I saw it a few months ago. It's really good. Like, I don't understand most of it because obviously we are saying all this in Spanish, by the way. I don't understand most of it, but your content's really good." I was like, "Oh, thank you." At that point, oh my god, oh, Ecuador almost scored. As I was speaking, that Kevin Rodriguez almost scores. I'm famous, dude. Alex, that's how I felt. I was like, I left that conversation and I was like, dude, I, somebody, like, I don't know. At that point, I had like 1,500 subscribers, like 1,500 subs, and I was like, out of all of the people that live here in Buenos Aires, somebody recognized me, somebody stopped me in the streets, and I was like, wait, it's you, right? I was like, dude, I'm famous. That's crazy. This happened like, I don't know. It's been a while. It was last year, I think. Was it last year? Wait, shoot. Was it last year? Yeah, it was. Must have been like October, November last year. I was like, that's insane. How does that happen? I don't know if I ever said it on stream, but taking the chance now that you guys are here, like, I was like, dude, how? Oh, that was actually a decent chance by Kevin Rodriguez. He did amazingly to stop that with his chest and try to finish it past Rangel with his foot, but it was a tough finish. missed the target just barely. But that was probably since Jonje was hitting the post in the first half. That was Ecuador's biggest chance by far. That could have been it. Like if that had gone in, suddenly Ecuador are only one goal behind, and there are 15 minutes to go, and you know that Mexico are gonna park the double-decker bus, and Ecuador are gonna have more chances, and suddenly it's game on. Are you surprised Paraguay outperformed Uruguay and Ecuador? Yes. Because I was expecting, I didn't have high expectations of Uruguay. I expected them to make it out of the group. I thought both Paraguay and Uruguay would exit the round of 32. I felt like Ecuador had a round of 16 ceiling for sure. I was not one of the people picking Ecuador to make the quarterfinals just because of their defense, because I feel like you also need to score goals. But I thought Ecuador could be a round of 16 team. And I expected Uruguay and Paraguay to both be around a 32 team. That the fact that Paraguay has outperformed both of them, like, it's not surprising in the sense that I know that Paraguay are a good team and that Alfaro is an amazing coach. But in the way that they did it, and the way that Uruguay absolutely collapsed, and the way that Ecuador has looked so incredibly shaky, those are the most surprising factors to me. So that is why it's a surprise. Kevin Rodriguez already done more than Valencia. That's what I. Why doesn't Kevin Rodriguez start? Like I said it as we went over the lineups before the game. How does Kevin Rodriguez not start? I get it. He's not world class. He's not even close to world class. And it's not like he's getting goals either. He hasn't got a goal this World Cup either. But he's putting himself in goal scoring opportunities. He moves off the ball. He can hold up play. He can link up play. He can do something. Ener Valencia did absolutely jack shit this World Cup. I feel like Ener would be better coming off the bench when you need a goal against tired legs. That would be a lot better for Ener Valencia to fill up that role off the bench. And Kevin Rodriguez being your starter. This being the other way around. Like Kevin Rodriguez is now trying to do something with a team that is giving him basically no service. Like Kevin Rodriguez is not a good striker by any stretch of the imagination. At least he does something. Okay, here comes more substitutions. Out Nilson Angulo and John Yeboah, and in come Jordi Caicedo and Kendry Paez. People, I don't understand this. Like, subbing out one of either Yeboah or Angulo makes sense. Subbing both of them out is kind of crazy to me. Kendry Paez has been, I know, like, this is the guy that we used to hype as a 16-year-old at Independiente del Valle with Mike. This guy has been in awful form. And Jordi Caicedo, at least you have another striker. Like Jordi Caicedo is your natural striker that just sits inside the box and tries to tap in the ball. And to be fair, he did score a couple of goals in the Argentinian league. But it's not like a world-class striker or anything. While for Mexico, both wingers also out. Both Quiñones, who scored the first goal, and also Alvarado subbed out. Replacing them is going to be, I saw the numbers 17, which is Pineda, to try and defend a little bit more, because Pineda is more of a defensively oriented midfielder. And also you have Reyes with the number 15. So now Mexico shifting basically into a 4-4-2 and trying to defend for the result, trying to hold more of the ball to not suffer in these final few minutes. I think that Mexico is done attacking and is now going to try to keep possession and keep the ball as further away from Rangel as possible. Yeah, I mean, James, there are no tactics. It's just pure vibes. You saw how Becasese looks like? He's one of the Beach Boys. He was on the cast for Baywatch. I mean, telling you. Becasese is an absolute fraud. There are no tactics, there's no work rate. It's just vibes. It's vibes. And the vibes are not vibing right now. Only 10 minutes to go. and Ecuador have created, like, if you want to be generous, 2 good chances. Maybe 3. If you want to be really generous, 3 big chances Ecuador has created. The atmosphere is insane. Like, the Azteca should have hosted the final, man. And if Mexico do face England here at the Azteca, that is a banger game. That is an old-timer already. And we're doing a watch-along for that. Like, I don't care. We're doing a watch-along for Mexico-England because that's a 10 out of 10 game. Like, that is a game that screams World Cup to me. But let's see if Ecuador still have time to spoil the party. Hincapié trying to put in a cross. That's going to be a corner. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, the MetLife Stadium, it may be huge and it may be very modern. It has no aura. Like, it's a great stadium. It has no aura. The MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, like, has nothing going for it besides its capacity and its infrastructure as a whole. Like, remember the 2018 World Cup? Like, think about this. 2014 World Cup final at the Estadio Maracanã, one of the most historic venues in the world of football. 2018 World Cup, the Luzhniki Stadium, which is absolutely beautiful, sitting in the center of a plaza in Moscow, where you could see, like, the entire row of, like, water fountains and the trees, and it was beautiful, right? The 2022 stadium, the Lusail Stadium in Qatar, as much as it was sitting in the middle of nowhere, it was a very pretty stadium with a roof, right? Ooh, that was a good chance for Ecuador, but the ref is giving a foul in attack. And then compare it to MetLife Stadium, which is a gray, roofless stadium sitting in the middle of a parking lot. That is gonna be the World Cup final. Like, there's gonna be a drone shot for the closing ceremony or for when the teams are about to walk onto the pitch, and it's gonna be the middle of a parking lot. Yeah, Pelé and Maradona played in the Azteca, and Messi, FIFA is robbing Messi of playing in it. Like, embarrassing. All right, 7 minutes to go. Ecuador still clueless, but at this point, like, tactics have gone out the window for like 15 minutes now. Like, at this point, it's just get it done in whatever way possible. Like, put the ball into the box and pray, hope that good things happen. Tactics are out the window. Let's see if Ecuador can do something with the power of magic and friendship. Cross and inshallah. Hincapié pushing forward. He's gonna put in another cross, doing the Arteta. Gets cleared away. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I believed in Ecuador. Like, I thought Mexico was gonna win this game. I said that my prediction was Mexico 1-0. I believe that Ecuador could do so much better than this. I'm sorry. It's not over until it's over, but like, at this point, it's like they need to score back to back almost. If they don't score right now, like, we're basically gonna have any chances for them to equalize. It's almost impossible. Is there any hope or future for Ecuador in the next Copa in 2030? If they find a good quality coach, most of their core is actually pretty young. Like Pacho, like Caicedo, like Kendry Paez, like these other guys, like Hincapié is decently young too, Ordóñez, who's this other guy, Nilson Angulo. If they can find a competent coach, most of their core is actually quite young. They need to find their coach. There's no much more than that. Ecuador are even losing the duels in midfield, by the way. Like, they are not even winning the ball back. Mexico, though, they're getting a bit desperate now, like just trying to clear the ball away, waiting for the game to end instead of trying to hold it like they intended to with the substitutions. Ecuador are pressing when they're playing out of the back. Here comes Santi Jimenez, though. El Bebote going up against Hincapié. Hincapié wins the duel for once. All right, let's see what Preciado can do. Obviously, just pass the ball to Rangel for no reason, dude. Oh, Rangel kinda complicated that. Okay, he got it. Jesus. Rangel tried to let the ball go out of play. Accidentally, he touched it, and so he had to track back for it to not go out for a corner. He almost screwed that one up massively. Dude, Preciado, you know how there are some players that you look at them and you are not able to tell what's going through their brain? Preciado is one of those players for me. Like, every time I watch him play, it's like I have no idea what he's thinking. I have a hard time believing that there's a brain firing cylinders in that head. Okay, are they gonna put a cross? Yes, they will. That's gonna get cleared away. Throwing it now for Ecuador. Are they gonna put it into the box? I think that Preciado wants to put this throwing into the box. Czechia style. The Mexicans are going absolutely wild at the Azteca. They are winning a historic game here. It would be the first knockout win for Mexico since 1986 at a World Cup. And they would finally reach that Quinto Partido, although the Quinto Partido, the fifth game, is no longer the quarterfinals, but the round of 16 now. And setting themselves up for another game at the Azteca against either England or DR Congo. Yep, it's gone wide. That header by... who was it? The number 26, Medina, right? Yeah, the header from Medina goes wide. It even bounces off the shoulder of Kevin Rodriguez. Like, it's a mess. It's a mess for Ecuador. Any updates on Argentina press on Montiel, Romero injuries, and is Divo's finger fully recovered? Divo's finger is fully recovered. Montiel apparently is okay. Romero apparently is fit to play, but we don't know if he's 100%. So there's a slight possibility. Oh, it's a scramble inside the box. I saw some Ecuadorians appealing for a handball, but with not a lot of intention. And now here comes El Bebote. Santi Jimenez 1v1 against Pacho. He crosses it in for Pineda. Pineda dives inside the box. That is not a penalty. And Ecuador get the ball back. Preciado throwing it long. The ball is out of place, says the ref. Scaloni just values what Thiago Almada brings to the table in terms of technical ability on the wing. And even though I think that Thiago Almada has not had the most impressive World Cup, he has some good moments. Obviously, he had the dummy for Messi in the first goal against Austria. He had a good cameo when he came off the bench against Jordan, to be fair, in a game that obviously didn't matter, and it was against Jordan, but whatever. I feel like Thiago Almada also has made enough arguments to be a starter in the national team, basically because there are not that many options on the left side. But Nico Gonzalez is always coming off the bench, if not starting. So, like, both of them are going to play, I expect. Italy haven't won a knockout game since they last won the World Cup. Neither have Germany, neither have Spain. Although Spain play against Austria tomorrow, and they could very well change that. Not tomorrow, like the day after, but you know what I'm saying. Because it's already almost 1 a.m. here in Argentina. Alright, 7 minutes of stoppage time for Ecuador to make something happen, to at least get one goal back and add a bit of drama to the end. I don't think it's gonna happen. Rangel is just gonna catch that ball. So disappointed. I'm so disappointed in Ecuador. I don't know if I expected them to go much further than this at the World Cup, but I surely expected them to show better performances. The performances have been putrid, horrific by the Ecuador national team. Sure, they can be proud of that Germany game, and it was pretty much the only game where they gave a good performance. Straight up. Against Ivory Coast, the first half was good, and they were pretty unlucky not to score then. The second half, they got rolled over. Against Curacao, it was a disaster the whole way through. This game has been a disaster the whole way through. Mexico trying to keep the ball away from their box as much as possible. They're pushing forward. They may even find a third. Ooh! That was a really good shot by Pineda. Just wide. Dude, if Austria shocked Spain, oh my goodness. That would be something. Just like that, Group E is eliminated. Yes, you're right, because all three teams, Germany, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador, are going out that progress from this group. That is kind of crazy. Because I expected that group to be really strong, and it was pretty evenly matched. But neither of those teams seem to be relatively strong. Round 32 elimination should count as a group stage exit. I can agree. I can agree. Especially considering the third place teams could advance, I can agree with that. Could you see Congo pulling a result against England? And imagine we got Congo versus Mexico at the Azteca. That would also be cinema. And I can see it. You know why I can see it? Because stylistically, that is possibly the worst matchup England could have asked for. Because in the games against Ghana and Panama, where England struggled, what did they struggle with? Breaking down a low block. Congo are probably one of the best low blocks in this tournament. And they are a better low block than Ghana, and they are a better low block team than Panama. As Hincapié is fighting and arguing with Santi Jimenez, they are clashing heads and they are talking to each other. The ref has to go count them down. Congo matches up perfectly. Oh, and now Santi Jimenez is accusing Hincapié of covering his mouth. And so that's going to be a VAR check for the Prestiani rule. I hate Santi so much. Yeah, Hincapié did cover his mouth to talk to him. He did. He actually did. And so, that's so stupid. Hincapié actually did that. Hincapié did cover his mouth to talk to Santi. And you could see it in Santi that at first he was like, okay, I don't care, sure, do whatever you want, man. And then he realized, like, oh wait, if you cover his mouth, that's a red card, right? Like, once Santi realized, he was like straight up going to the ref because of that. Yeah, it's clear as day, that's a red card. It is a stupid rule, Willow. It is a stupid rule. But if the rule exists, it's even more stupid to fall for it. Guys, everybody agrees that this is a stupid rule. But if it's a rule, then it's even more stupid to fall for it. These players know this, by the way. They get briefed on the rules before the World Cup begins. They know this. Red card for Hincapié. And he obviously applauds the referee. Okay, but Willow, can you blame Vinny for trying to fight racism? The problem is the solutions that FIFA are finding to fight racism are stupid. You cannot blame Vinny for trying to fight racism. You have to blame FIFA for coming up with stupid ways to prevent racism. Katsu, Kasubtin, do you know that my name is Santiago too? I'm also a Santi. But I don't really relate to Santi Jimenez like whatsoever. We should never give fighting racism as a lost cause. Like, we need to keep fighting against it and keep calling out racist people until the very end. We cannot let it die as a lost cause. Like, the moment we put our hands down is where they won, right? Yeah, exactly, Willow. Like the rules that FIFA are trying to impose are stupid. But more stupid to me is to get sent off like that. Like if you know the rule and you do it, like you're stupid. I'm sorry. And yeah, James, like Congo has proven to be defensively solid, much more than Ecuador. And I think that England will really struggle to break down DR Congo. I have a feeling that England are still gonna win with like a scrappy goal, but it's gonna be like the ugliest 1-0 win you've ever seen. I have a feeling that that's how that game tomorrow is gonna play out. But England are really, really gonna struggle against DR Congo. I'm certain of it that DR Congo are not getting destroyed by England, not by any chance. I feel like England are gonna struggle to create chances against Congo, and then Congo could find opportunities to potentially score. You cannot write them off in that game. You cannot write Congo off in that game. That is gonna be a close one. I feel like, especially because England don't make it easy for themselves in any game whatsoever. All right. The 7 minutes of stoppage time have already gone. I don't know if the ref is gonna add another minute because of the VAR check. I don't feel like it's really needed. Like the game is absolutely over, but I feel like that's what he's gonna do. Like that's what he's doing. It seems like. Yeah, like there's nothing to play for anymore. The Mexicans on the Azteca are already celebrating. They know it's happening. They know they've done it. They know they're through to the round of 16. They know that Mexico has won a knockout game for the first time in 40 years. The last time they did so, it was at the same stadium in 1986. And that for the first time since that time in 1986 that they are reaching the fifth game of a World Cup, El Quinto Partido, as it's once again disappointment for Ecuador, and Becasese needs to be sacked. If England score early, it'll be a walkover, otherwise it's a goalless draw. I mean, England could also score late. It could be 0-0 until the very end, and I don't know, Bellingham bicycle kick or something. But I agree, if England score early, like it could get ugly. Like that much I can agree with, but I see England really struggling against DR Congo. I don't know. I don't see how. Like I feel like England are gonna make it much more difficult than it should be on paper, based on the quality of both teams. Yeah, ref, I agree. Just end the suffering of this team. Like they've gone through enough. And there we go. That's game. Mexico are through to the round of 16. End of the road for Ecuador, Becasese, and the Baywatch boys. It was not enough. Harambol was not enough. Highline was not enough. The Premier League merchants and the Champions League winner were not enough. Mexico, with a solid defensive performance and with good offensive talents like Quiñones and Raúl Jiménez, had enough to expose this Ecuador team and win at home, win a knockout game for the first time in 40 years, make it to a fifth game of a World Cup for the first time in 40 years. And now they know that they are playing their next game at the Azteca as well. They are waiting for the winner of England and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And what a moment it is for Mexico. Still have not conceded a goal, by the way, after 4 World Cup games. Still haven't conceded a goal. You have to commend the defensive work that Javier Aguirre's team has put up. The defensive performances by Montes, Chavez, these sort of players has been nothing but outstanding. Rangel in goal too. And Mexico look good, guys. I cannot lie anymore. I think that Mexico look good. And if they were to play England in the round 16, I feel like they will not make it easy for England, especially playing at home. That would be a tough game for the Three Lions. Congratulations to the Mexicans. Any Mexicans in chat? I doubt it, but congratulations to all of the Mexicans that may watch this. Commiserations to Ecuadorians who probably want Becasese sacked now because of the absolute terrorism that they had to witness this entire World Cup, despite probably having one of the best moments in their lifetimes, beating Germany. The rest of the World Cup campaign has been an absolute disaster for the caliber of players that this Ecuador generation has. They played absolutely putrid football. And yeah, Mexico are through and deserve to be through. And will be playing in the round 16. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching the stream. Thank you all so much for tuning in. James, Mr. Krabs, Dave, Muka, SSB, Alexandra, thank you so much for joining once again. Willow, everybody. Elijah before, Capsutin, Muka, Anshu, Dave Street, everybody. Thank you so much for coming onto the stream. We'll see about that watch along for Portugal Croatia, so stay tuned for that. And obviously on July 3rd, Argentina against Cabo Verde will be there to see La Albiceleste play in the knockouts once again. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. I'll be seeing you all next time. Peace out.